Peace and love. Peace and love. Welcome back to Vibes with Moody. Welcome back to Vibes with Moody. Today we'll be trading NASDAQ, right? As always, I like to trade NASDAQ. However, you can follow along with me trading NASDAQ, or you can trade SPY, QQQ, TQQQ, things of that nature. You can even trade SPX, right? QQQ will move a little bit more favorable with NQ. However, SPY shall do the same thing as well. Um, Plan your trade the plan. I'm not talking about right now because we're going to be live trading. I'm talking about when you get off of live trading. If you had a plan, trade that plan, right? No trigger, no trade, right? So with that being said, give me some time. I'm about to share my screen here. All right, awesome. So, we got some time. We got some time. So I did want to do a little bit of charting. So what I'm gonna do is just give an analysis, and then we'll get into some extra charting, right? Because I only got I do have a put entry and a call entry. It's pretty far. Um, However, let's just jump over here. I'll be kind today on YouTube. So we'll come over here to the 13-hour time frame, right? So what I'm seeing here is that we have a nice bullish reversal. And on that bullish reversal, we have a continuation to the upside here, right? We have a bullish reversal right here, and we have a continuation, right, to the upside. Meaning, yeah, we're pulling back and things of that nature, but they are pushing the price up a little bit higher, right? Now, I do have this level here. I have it on like a light blue. It's gonna be $24,843. If we start to travel back under that level and start getting under it and rejecting it and going under and doing our best to break over it, but we keep rejecting and going down, 9 times out of 10, we're probably gonna go down, right? Just put that level on your chart and you'll remember that, right? So don't see too much right here, right? I'm gonna travel over to the 14-hour just to see what's going on. And I'll do the same thing here on the 23-hour. Nice bullish reversal still. We're still inside of the previous candlestick. All right, I'm gonna pull it all the way up here to about a 4-hour time frame, right? So one thing I'm seeing is that they had a bullish reversal here and they broke support and as well as swept liquidity down here and brought support down a little bit lower, right? However, they did get a nice reversal right here. And when they did get this reversal, one thing that I do like is that it was an engulfing reversal. It was a double reversal, right? Look up your reversal pattern so that you understand why that was a double reversal. That's going to be your homework, right? So this was a double reversal and it swept the previous low and as well as the previous high. And as it came down, found some type of support somewhere, right? Bounced off of it. I would say this orange level right here, which is, ooh, I can't find it at the moment. But I can tell you it's about $24,553.75. And we created another support right here with another reversal pattern and just brought price up, right? So to be honest, I feel like they're going to push the price kind of all the way up to like around here, the 50% retracement, this light blue, right? So that's gonna be that same level. I feel like they're gonna, not this one here. Sorry, not the 2443 24,843 level, but this level here at 25,149. It's just since I have a lot of charts, it's gonna be all the way up here, and it's not 149, it's actually 148.75, right? And this is important to have your, certain colors so that you know what you're looking for and things of that nature, right? If you have any questions, feel free to drop your questions. We have 10 minutes into the market opening, right? So I'm just gonna travel down here. Before I do that, let me look at the overall pattern. The overall pattern is the inverse head and shoulders. Coming down here to about the hour, we can see the inverse head and shoulders a little bit more clearer now, right? And we're playing inverse head and shoulders here as well. with a nice cup and handle bull flag breakout. So we'll definitely see how it performs. I have a call entry here at about $24,926.75. And I do have a put entry here about $24,833. I'll find a better put entry here soon. I just didn't, my first entry was gonna be like around this level. And I was just like, I don't want to enter the trade around that level. Do 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 do. Yeah, that's really about it. It's a whole bunch of inverse head and shoulders and things of that nature. I think it's important to know this level as well. I just found it. I don't have it marked in my chart. Oh, I do have it marked. I just don't have this level marked, and we're gonna make it yellow so that yellow to yellow. That was a previous gap fill that they filled going up, and uh created some type of price action here, right? We have an inverse cup and handle here. However, we're gonna see what type of price action they try to give us right here, right? Because when we have gaps and things of that nature, we tend to play around those levels for a good bit, right? And if you want some back tests to be able to see that, you can just go to NASDAQ, or even SPY, and just look at the gaps that we've had. Like you can look at them like from a 4-hour time frame. You know what I'm saying? And you'll see that we continue to gap around those levels, right? So yeah, I'm gonna drop this bad boy down here to a 5-minute time frame. And matter of fact, let me go ahead and look at the 30 really quickly. All right, that was quick. Let me check the 15er. All right, same thing. All right, we'll drop it on a 5 and we'll leave it there on a 5. On a 5, overall is inverse head and shoulders. As I kept saying, we're just playing a whole bunch of inverse head and shoulders. You have a head and shoulders here that brought it down and created the inverted head and shoulders. And now you also have a head and shoulders, not from here, but shoulder, head, shoulder, necklines here. So we're going to see what they're going to want to do, right? And it's right at a resistance. And how I like to look at inverted head and shoulders are patterns that magnetize to structure, right? Hey, a little late, however, I'm here. You're never late, baby girl. You ain't never late. You're right on time. Alignment. You feel me? You see, look, Jay just hopped on the Zoom. He ain't late. He right on time. Alignment. Right? How you doing, big dog? I like to consider myself a god. I like to flip those words around. Big dog, big god. But nah, there ain't no big gods or little gods, man. There ain't no big U's or little U's. We're all the same. We're all equal. However, I'm doing great, man. God is great. God is great. I don't know a day that I'm not doing great. Even if I'm not doing great, I'm still doing great. Right? I forget the man's name. However, he did say, keep your thoughts decent. Keep them good. Keep everything up here. Right? So, I'm a big practice of that. A big practice. Right? We're looking to see if the VIX is still going to continue to fill up its gap to the downside as well. Right? It had gapped up on Monday, and I seen it to clean its gap the previous day. However, we failed to complete the whole gap, right? We completed a good bit of it. Yeah, we failed to complete the whole gap. It gapped up again, and we went ahead and cleared that out as well. So yeah. What's going on, Zoom? How y'all doing over there? Let me pull up. Hey, how y'all doing? What's up, Candace? What's going on, Latanson? Peace and love to you. Here, I let the people see y'all. What I do? All right, we out of here. But yeah, man. Just gonna be patient. Like I even like a put entry like around here. Let me see. 2484 down to about 24. I'm saying that's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah. But they're already pushing it. Let me see something. I say let them sweep this liquidity and we'll take this entry point. Let them sweep that. I want you to sweep that. right? So we got to put entry here at $24,860.25. And we also have one down here about $24,833. And we got to call entry above here about $24,996 oh, sorry, 24,926 and 75 cents. I'm just getting up. Don't beat me up, man. Don't beat me up. I kind of like this over structure. I'm gonna get another call entry right here, right? We could delete this line. Liquidity got swept. There we go. And then I'll just go ahead and make these green. Yeah, I got time to chart it. Make these green, make these green. That's cool. Ooh, let me get that. They swept the liquidity. See, and this is why I didn't want to use this as my entry point. I feel like they're just going to sweep it and reverse it right there. Bow! So let's see how they do that. All right, I could delete this now. An entry just triggered as well. However, I also believe that I have a fib. No, my fib is kind of all the way down here. That's that level if we get into it. And then where's the other fib? We're already inside of that fib to go to 50% retracement here. So put entry just triggered, and it's pushing now. However, we can utilize it as a break and retest entry. We got a few more minutes before the market opens up. I'm gonna go ahead and put myself over here on a 5-second time frame. And you don't have to trade on a 5-second time frame, okay? Please realize that I've been trading, day trading, scalping, swing trading, things of that nature. I won't mention long-term investing because I was doing that before I started trading. I don't talk about that part of my life too often because I didn't know what I was doing, to be quite frank with you. I was just following whatever Instagram was talking about, buy shares on Apple, Microsoft, things of that nature. However, I've been trading, you're watching 6 years. This is chapter 6, right? So be mindful, be very mindful, um, to not compare yourself to me, right? Or even see that I'm trading on a specific time frame, like, man, I really want to do that. You'll get there. Take your time. Oh, I feel like they're about to bear flag this out. Do what we got? A minute and a half. Cool. That was a beautiful entry point right here. Beautiful, beautiful entry point. The first that I was gonna choose was like right here, and I was like, nah, I didn't want that one. You can see it got indecision, but it did give. But then it rejected right there. So that would have still been a great entry point. However, this is also a good entry point, 24.60, down about like 2 points on it. Not down, but like, it's pretty cool. Where you want to be at 9 a.m. I'm not sure what that means, where you want to be at 9 a.m. You got to explain yourself. How many years did it take you, bro, until you were consistently making, oh, snap, market's about to open up. Oh, I got 44 seconds. How many years did it take you, bro, until you were consistently making a real life off pay scales? You don't want to know that answer. My therapist said not everybody deserves that story. I'll tell you this though. I started day trading January 21st, 2021. I retired my job the last week of March. June, I was great. By July, nobody could touch me. All right, we're going down. Let's go ahead and be patient. I'll let you know when I buy some calls. We'll go ahead and record this trade. All right, we got a call entry right there. Okay, call entry just triggered. I'm buying calls. I'm in calls, y'all. You can definitely go ahead and get you a scale. I'm taking another scale here. I'm getting me another scale here. All right. I got 3 more contracts. I'm gonna take a scale right now. I'm gonna hold these 2 contracts. Now, if I travel back under this big green bar, oh dang, y'all not gonna see it. Here, I'll just drop it to the 5-second. If I travel under this blue line right here, I'm gonna get out the trade. We're only up about $1,200. All right, there we go. Don't mind me, I just added to my position. You can add if you like. Just be cautious if you get to break even to start scaling before you get there. All right, I'm scaling. All right, I'm about to be completely out the trade. I'm almost at that blue level. However, I'm gonna just chill. I got 4 cons left. Oh, dang, I gotta close the trade. All right, I'm closing right here, closing it. All right, that was a beautiful, beautiful trade. I honestly feel like she's about to rip up and break this bull flag. Look, I may take another trade. Nah, I'm gonna go to the private community. However, let me go ahead and explain my trade. I'm already on a 5-second time frame, right? So the good thing is, the good thing is, because for some reason it's not populating on my phone. Right here, as you see, I have to look at my phone, yeah, because right above here, this white line, I used it as a call entry, which was the put entry, right? That was the second put entry. So as I seen it just running up, running up, running up, I also knew that they was taking out this PMG, right? This is market structure here. I didn't tell anybody I was gonna enter here. However, I wanted to see how it played out. It rejected, it opened there, it came down, swept liquidity. And this, I'm not gonna lie, I caught FOMO. I was like, boom, I should have been in the trade. So I went ahead and jumped in. I didn't get in right at our entry, or that was the put entry. I didn't get in right there. However, I got in a little bit like over it. We started running up and I just started scaling out. I started scaling out. I don't really mention it a lot. However, I had entered in with 4 contracts and then I just started buying some more and then I started scaling out. And the reason why is because trading views allow you, that's why it's one of my favorite trading platforms. Trading views will allow you to move your contracts, right? And start adding and scaling just by clicking these buttons right here pretty quickly, right? We're almost, it just created an inverted head and shoulders. Seems like it wants to bull flag out. However, coming back into the trade, I just kept scaling out, scaling out, scaling out, right? Up here was my last scale. It was like, I wouldn't say I got it all the way up there. It started pushing up and I was like, go ahead and scale out. I scaled out. I only had 2 contracts left. When we started to come down, like around here, boom, boom. That's when I started adding to my position. And I was able to scale out. And then, no, I'm lying to you. It wasn't there. I added right here. It was these tweezer bottoms. Is that, see, and I didn't even mean to tell you it was a tweezer bottom. You see, you got me. You got me. It was this tweezer bottom. I ended up scaling, scaling, scaling. Then when it came down here, that's when I ended up getting out the trade. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got scared right here. Um, because I still had a good bit of contracts and I didn't want to give my money back. And it went down. We opened up right here and I was able to just get out my trade. When I seen this candlestick here now, right here, I seen the bull flag and I was like, oh, they're about to take out here. Let me show you so that you understand liquidity. They're about to take out these levels right here. Only the green lines that you see me drawing out. See, you see how it's just running up now? They was gonna come back and take out all those levels. Do 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 do. See, boom, went straight to my resistance, right? So that's why I took the trade. I was very biased to the upside. As I mentioned, I felt like they were gonna take price all the way up here, and they are. I could just see it. This is where price is about to go to. 25,148.75. However, market does have to fluctuate. Does anybody have any questions? Amazing trade, God. Appreciate you. Peace. Peace to the earth or the moon. Phenomenal trade. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, bro. How much capital did you start with? When I first started options, I started with $30,000. Yeah. And it wasn't that I just had, I'm not gonna say I didn't, but like it's not that I just had $30,000 to start with. I was an amateur, bro. I don't even like talking about it. I sold a lot of shares because I already had like a portfolio, and I was like, oh snap, you can trade options. So the reason I started trading options is because a guy that I call my cousin, we're like really close or whatnot. His name is Justin Yenas. He was making about $1,000 a day, roughly, back in like 2020, coming into 2021. And I just reached out to him and I was like, bro, I'm not making that money. Like, I'm in the stock market too. And he was like, oh, I'm trading options. I was like, I didn't know what that was. He had put me on. And I just didn't want to put more money into Robinhood at the moment. So I just went ahead and started selling shares, and I already had money in my buying power. Started selling shares, got myself up to about like $30,000 in buying power, and from there I just started trading. And that's also what helped me realize compounded interest, having a starter position, not just buying a certain amount of contracts, having a starter position. Like back in 2021, like once I started figuring out how to trade, my first starter position was 5 contracts. Sell 3, hold 2, sell 1, let the runner run. If it comes back to break even, close the trade. Or even if it goes down to, if you want to let it breathe, -15, close the trade. You're not really giving much money back, and that's off of 1 contract. You took the highest profits on 3 contracts and took some more profits on 1 contract. So it's hard to lose that trade, right? Um, so yeah, that's what I would say. However, I know you also was asking about like how many years. That's actually a really good question because I tend to see that. Even back in 2021, I would see that where it's like this person's profitable. However, they're letting you know that they became profitable after like 5 years of trading, after 4 years of trading, things of that nature. Which that's 100% true. That case is for a lot of people. However, what I would say is that's more normal than someone learning how to trade and becoming profitable within a year, a few months, or even 2 years. That's more doable. People normally become profitable within their I would say within their fifth year around there, 6 years. Why? Because you do whatever you want to do, whether you have a good educator or not. You start to do things on your own, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, People seem to take it the wrong way because, they're giving money to the market, things of that nature. Whereas like you still have to go through your trials and tribulations, right? I know how it feels to give money to the market. I know how it feels to go into the market with capital that you don't want to lose or can't lose, right? However, majority of people in life are going to be trading with capital that they can't lose. Just to be quite frank with you, um, you just have to manage things a little bit better. You go to work, your well-being, you look at your bank statements, right? You learn to cut off distractions and things of that nature. One of the biggest things that I can give to you is looking at communities and Discord groups as streaming platforms. The reason I say that is because I tend to hear people complain about being in this group and in that group and in this group, and they're paying for a premium. However, they're not looking at that when they're talking about Netflix, Disney Plus, Stars, you want to watch Power. So like that's, you know, what I would say is I was on Lawrence's platform not too long ago, right? He allowed me to be on his platform, live trade with him, and I also brought my mentees over and things of that nature, where we're two completely different type of traders, right? So to hear any complaining and I'm not saying that I have, I'm just giving an example. Um, one has to look in the mirror. Why do I say that? Because I primarily scalp and day trade, yet I love to swing trade, and long-term invest. However, he's primarily a swing trader, right? So the way you're supposed to look at things in that nature is like, okay, cool. I'm gonna come learn from this guy so I can scalp and I can day trade and things of that nature. I'm gonna learn from this guy so I can make some long-term investments and some great swings. That's the way to look at things. And then you won't, ever get in a pickle or things of that nature, right? Because what you're really going through is the fact that you see the potential of the stock market and you're rushing your success. That's all it is. How do I know? Because I was doing it myself, you know? And my therapist told me, understanding, take your time. One day you're gonna get up and you're not even gonna notice what you did. It's gonna just be a snowball effect. You know, like when a snowball is rolling down a hill, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it gains more momentum, right? And that's what she told me about like profits and just understanding the market and things of that nature, right? I can see how I don't spend a lot of time in the market anymore. I remember back in 2021, I'd be in the market all day. It was stressful, trying to find something or, play a move, whatever the case may be. However, I've been rambling. Um, I truly appreciate you guys jumping on. You don't have to be here. You could be anywhere else in the world. However, you're choosing to be here with Vibes with Moody. Um, I'll be back Monday to live trade with you guys and to also do a class at 6:30 today. You know, I live in my culture, right? And I live in mathematics, right? I'm gonna speak in a certain way since I know I'm on YouTube. I live in a mathematical world. Um, I think that everything can add up to something. And if you needed to add up to something, maybe you need to subtract something away, right? So with that being said, Ethereum is back over $2,100. I still see a little bit more downside to the market. Yeah, I definitely do see some more downside to the market. Um, yeah, and that's all I'll leave you guys with, like I tell my people, my loved ones in the community, may the Lord continue to bless his offering, crown of our heads to the sole of our feet, back to the crown of our heads. Remember to be kind, genuine, and patient with yourself. That allow you to be kind, patient, and genuine with others. With that being said, make sure that you comment, like, share, and subscribe, and send this over to about 5 people. That's your challenge. Let's see what kind of heart you have, right? So with that being said, I appreciate you guys. Nothing but straight wins. However, I'm pretty happy to say that one of these live trading, it was like 2 sessions back, I did take a red trade, not a red day. We gained it all back the next when I went over to the private community. However, that doesn't mean that I don't lose, right? However, what you're seeing is a disciplined, profitable trader that is willing to make his money and I run back into the market, whether I make money or I gave some money back. With that being said, peace and love.